This conference will now be recorded.
Yes, good evening, friends. Yes, in the last class, we have explored how to use the export to make Selenium to find the element. Anyhow, down the line, while creating some automation test cases, we will use the export. If we have any questions, that would be clear at that moment. And today, let me explain another locator, which is how to use CSS selector. Using the locator CSS selector to identify elements. How to use CSS selector to identify the elements present in a page. Well, see, coming to CSS selector, truly, I never use CSS selector in my work while identifying the element. Mostly not needed. Whatever we can do with the export, the alternatively we can also do with the CSS selector. CSS selector also similar to export. The general syntax will be like this: to identify the element, the tag name, and the property name equal to the property value. Property name equal to property value. Let's see this. Open the Firefox. Let me open some application, say, okay, Facebook. Sorry. Here, I'm spying the properties of the username element. Well, there are many properties here. Here we can use any property to identify the element. First, you need to mention the tag name, any property name, either ID or name or class name or type or anything equal to property value. Okay. Okay, here I'm trying to use a type property here. What is the type property value here? Email. With a type property value is email, let me use it. How to use it? So what is the tag name we have observed? Input is the tag name here. Input property name. What is the property name we have seen? Type equal to property value email. Okay. I'm copying this. Now here, before I put it in my code, before I use it in my code, better I confirm with the help of the try export. See, in the name, it is try export. In fact, I said CSS selector also similar to the export. We can also evaluate CSS selector expression with the help of the try export. How? How? Here we have an option here where I'm using try export, export of any type. And you do observe the last but one, query selector, query selector. Here I can use it CSS selector. And do remember, here the default would be try any XPath, but here I am choosing query selector, CSS query selector. It is actually, I'm putting this expression. Now I click execute. You please observe the count. The CSS selector expression matching one element, that element was highlighted. Okay, that element was highlighted. So it is a valid CSS selector expression. Yes, I can use it in my code. Let us use it. First, I'll make Selenium to invoke the Facebook application. Driver equal to new anyone, Firefox or Chrome, whatever it may be. Firefox, then driver dot get the Facebook application. Then driver dot find element. This time I'm using by CSS selector. I'm giving the CSS selector expression, whatever I have created. Dot and case. Some sample data I'm giving, say demo. Now let us run this code. It should identify a element whose tag name is input element, whose type property is email, and perform some action. Let us execute it. Truly speaking, we no need to much use CSS selector, because whatever we can achieve with the CSS selector, the same also you can achieve with the XPath. Do observe the data was entered here, demo was entered here. Okay, the data was entered. Now I spy the properties of the password element. Here we have, okay, some property data hyphen test ID, value royal underscore pass. Let me use it in the CSS selector. This time directly I'm using it. Driver dot find element by the CSS selector. So what is the CSS selector expression? First, you need to give the tag name. Here the tag name is input. So a input element whose data hyphen test ID property equal to, what's the value here? Royal under pass. I'm copying it and I'm putting here. Then some other property we use, that's it. Then enter some data. Send keys. Say here I'm giving my password. Just I'm giving some sample data here, my pass, something like this. Okay. So this is how we can use the CSS selector. Just I'm putting this in the notepad. Okay, right. Now, so this is all about various locators can be used to identify the element by the selenium. Just I introduce you the concept of the locators. When we started creating automation test cases, in different scenarios, we have to make use of different locators. If you have still any questions, that will be clarified down the line while I am creating test cases. Now I proceed with my next topic. The next topic is just given a small introduction till now about the Selenium, how Selenium will invoke the browsers, some browser navigation related operations, some automating some sample browser operations, how Selenium will identify the elements, and what are the properties or locators used by Selenium to identify the element. So as of now, just these are the very few topics we have learned. How Selenium invoke the browsers, automating some browser operations, how Selenium, what is find element and find elements, and what are the locators available in the Selenium to identify the element. Only these are the four major topics I have discussed in the Selenium. Now, from here, let me drive in this way. In manual testing, if you are doing manual testing, we interact with the elements, correct? We enter email ID, we enter password, we select a value from a drop-down list, we select a radio button, and we click a button, we click a link. All operations carried out with the manual effort by us. What we are trying to do with the Selenium is we perform some operations on the application UI. We are making Selenium to perform the operation. In this way, we are validating a functionality. In order to check a functionality, say this login working or not, this new user registration working or not. In manual testing, we enter the data, we select a value, we select a drop-down list, and we click the button. Same process we are automating. The manual operations we are automating with the help of the Selenium WebDriver. So from here, let me drive in this way, how to enter the data in a text box, how to select a value from a drop-down list, how to select a radio button, how to select a checkbox, how to click a button, how to click a link, how to select a date from a calendar. So let us learn automating different operations, various possible operations on various elements using Selenium. How to automate various operations on various elements. Elements meaning text boxes, buttons, radio buttons, drop-down list using the Selenium WebDriver. So first, let us start with automating text box operations. So let us start with first automating text box operations. Okay. I can say this is a major chapter. In these are the subtopics. First, we start with the text box. Then one by one, we go drop-down list related operation, automating checkbox operation, radio button operation, links operation, table operations, keyboard and mouse operations, etc. Everything. Right. First, we start with the automating text box operation. In order to understand in a better way, for every element, first, better Selenium tester should have the idea what is the HTML tag name used to define the element. You answer me, what is the HTML tag name used to define text box elements in a web page? You answer me, what is the HTML tag name used to define text boxes in a web page? Well said. Perfect. Input. Good. So input is the HTML tag name used to define text boxes in a web page. Excellent, no doubt. Well, not only text boxes, check boxes, radio buttons, verify here, check here. Not only text boxes, radio buttons, check boxes, buttons also defined using the same tag name input. Let's see. I'm showing you the properties of one radio button here. Please do observe the tag name. Yes. What is the tag name here? Input. So what you understand here, radio buttons also defined using the tag name input. Okay. Let's see the button. Oh, here they use button. Okay. Take some other application where we have some checkboxes. Cleartip.com. We would have checkboxes here. Okay, see, this is an image, I hope. Let me verify. Okay, good. You please observe here. What is the tag name? So some buttons also defined using the same tag name input. Some buttons also defined using the same tag name input. Correct? Okay. Take some other application. SpyJet. Now, why I'm showing you this kind of application? So that you'll understand. So because we are going to use Selenium WebDriver for web application testing only, correct? You'll understand everything in detail. And see here we have checkbox elements. Here I am showing you the properties of one checkbox, student. Right. What is the type property? No, sorry. What is the tag name here once again? Input. So input is a HTML tag name finally here. But do observe. So input is a HTML tag name used to define not just text boxes, radio buttons, checkboxes, some buttons. Then how the programmer will differentiate these elements? You do observe there is a type property. For the checkbox, type property value is checkbox. Correct? Okay. See for the radio button. Okay, for the button. Type property value is submit. Okay. See for this radio button. Input is a HTML tag name, but whereas the type property value is radio. The same way, see the text box element here. It's a text box. HTML tag name is input, whereas see the type property value. So what is the type property value for the text box? Yes, answer me. Yes, correct. Text is the type property value for the text box elements. So input is a HTML tag name used to define text boxes in a web page. And type property value is text. The type property value is text. I put like this. So input is a HTML tag name and the type property value is text used to define text boxes present in a web page. Sir, why I'm giving this kind of information? Why I'm giving the HTML details to you? Truly, a tester, why we need the HTML details, how it was designed? Because Selenium API works on the HTML code. Selenium API finding the elements based on the HTML code or HTML properties of the element. So we must know some basic details about how different elements are defined in a web page. For that reason, I am giving these basic details. So that, okay, let's see. Why this information I am giving, try to understand in this way. Friends, everyone, you answer my question. I want to count. I want to count. Take some other application, any other application. Take the RHRM or Primus Bank, whatever. I want to count number of text boxes in a page. You tell me how you'll get it. I want a number of text boxes present in this page. You answer me how you'll get it. Size. I want to know how many text boxes present in the page. First, we need to capture all text boxes in the page into a Java list, correct? Then Java list.size will return you count of text boxes. Question, how to capture all the text boxes available in the page into the Java list? That is my question. Yes. How to capture all text boxes present in this page into some Java list? That is my question. By the tag name. Excellent, Anil. Anil, correct. By the tag name. Yes, Raj, correct. Yes, correct, Swati. See here. After invoking the Premise Bank application, driver dot find elements by its tag name. If I do not know what is the tag name used to define the element, if I do not know what is the tag name used to define the elements, then how I get it? Cannot, correct? So what is the tag name now? Input. Okay. This I have to take into the Java list. So what is the Java list name? I mean, some Java list name I'm giving. For example, X. X is my Java list name here. So, but here we get a wrong answer. Why? We'll get the wrong output. Why? What it is doing, all input elements it is capturing. It is capturing all input elements, correct? Even if there are any buttons, check this one. If there are any buttons available, or if there are any checkboxes available, if there are any radio buttons available, even radio button checkboxes also defined using the same tag name input, they also will be taken. Agree with me? You are asking find elements which are created using the tag name input. Not only text boxes, buttons, radio buttons, checkboxes also will be taken. Agree with me? So now, not only tag name, I require even type property also. Now I am using export expression. Two forward slashes, two forward slashes, okay, two forward slashes. Sir, I have to discuss one topic I forgotten, sorry. Absolute export and partial export. Anyhow, I'll discuss about it. While teaching itself, I'll discuss about it. How to make Selenium to identify the element using the location, absolute and partial. While teaching itself, I'll discuss. Okay, here, the tag name is input and at the rate property name, type property equal to, what is the type property value? Text. If I know tag name, If I know how programmers are defined using the type property, then only I can able to construct the XPath expression. Correct? Okay, now I'm just printing x dot size. So let us run this code. You can run this code, otherwise this you can put it in XPath expression. I mean the try XPath, it will show you that. Yes, see this now. 1 type equal to text. Well, correct. Why it is showing 1, I'll tell you. Please observe there is a password element, right? It is password element. Generally for the password, see the type property for the password element. It's a text box, but what is the type property value here? Password. Okay, the type property value is password. Now I'll change it. Yes, we have encountered the practical scenario when we are learning like this. Then only we'll understand the practical scenario where we use multiple properties. Now I want to use multiple properties. Tell me how you want me to use another way. Or either type property equal to text or type property equal to. I hope this is a practical scenario where we use that multiple properties. I hope you understood this. Okay. So previously I only teach you the concept. While creating test cases, we'll understand when we use them very practically. See here we encountered a situation that we have to use multiple properties. Not and, or we have to use. And meaning both. Sanjana, we no need to use star if I are giving a tag name, correct? Now let us see the output. We are getting 2. Got it? Well, now, so for this reason, I am explaining you some basic details about the HTML for each and every element. First, we are learning about the text box element. How to automate text box operations or text box element operations, whatever. Now, so what are the commonly operations we do on text boxes? You answer me. What are the basic operations we do with the text boxes? Entering some data. Now, first let us see how to, how to enter some data in a text box. Not manually, using the Selenium. How to enter some data in a text box. So what is the method available for entering the data? Using send keys. So syntax will go like this. We have to make Selenium to identify the web element, the text box element, dot send keys, and the data you want to enter, the text you want to enter. So this is the syntax. So I hope I don't need to explain this. Previously also we have observed this. Right? Then, so what is the other possible operation? Now, see how to, how to clear data present in a text box. How to clear the data present in a text box element. Let's see this. How to clear the data present in a text box. First, what I will do, just a minute. either Facebook or Primus Bank application, whatever. Okay, first here, I'll make Selenium to enter some data in the username element. Okay, there is ID property. Based on the ID property, I'll make Selenium to identify some data. Identify the element. Find the element by its ID. Then send keys some data. For example, admin. Now your Selenium will enter the data admin. For your understanding, wanted I am making Selenium wait for some amount of time, say 5 seconds. So whenever you Java or Selenium encounter thread or sleep, simply the test execution will be suspended for specified amount of time. So whenever you implement a thread or sleep, we have to implement exception handling mechanism. Well, here, now on the same element, I want to perform the clear operation. First, I'm entering the data in the text box. I'm making Selenium to wait for some amount of time, then clear the data present in the text box element. So let me run this code. Will close all the browsers. Yes, I close all the browsers open. Let me run this code. After 5 seconds, it should clear it. Yes, it is cleared. It was cleared. So now send key is used to enter the data. If you want to clear the data, web element dot, in web element is nothing but the text box element. Dot clear is a method. Got it? Now, sir, in this code, at first I am making Selenium to identify the user ID element, find some element, perform action 1, enter the data. Find the same element and perform action 2, clear the data. Like this. If I want to perform multiple actions on the same element, instead of repeating find element, find element, find element, let me define the code in another way this time. See, I'm declaring a variable of type web element. I told you web element is a Selenium type, Selenium interface. Web element, some name I am giving. Say for example, UID element, user ID element, like int x. Here, what is the variable name here? UID element, like string name. Here, a variable of type web element, right? I want to store the element into this variable. Then the UID element equal to driver dot find the element by its ID. I'm giving that ID value. Yes, I'm giving the ID value here, given. So what happens here? We are making Selenium to identify an element by its ID, txt user ID. Okay? Whatever the element identified, we are keeping in a variable of type UID element. So what is the return type of the find element? Web element. Find element returns a web element. The element, whatever it is returning, I'm keeping in a variable of type web element. Now, My code will be like this now. Here UID is element is a web element dot send keys, some data, admin. Now UID element dot clear. Got it? Now let's run the same. So instead of making Selenium to identify the same element, writing driver dot find element, one time we are making Selenium to identify the element, keeping in a variable of type web element. On the same element, we are performing action 1, action 2, etc. What happened? Oh, it entered and cleared. We have not observed. For that reason, only previously also I put the dot slip here. It entered and cleared. We are not able to observe. We are not. Our speed may not match with the Selenium speed. Done. Check this. Data entered. Selenium is waiting for 5 seconds. Then clear the data. Same thing. Instead of writing find element, if I want to perform multiple actions on the same element, one time I'll make Selenium to find the element, store in a variable of type web element. Because you know find element returns a web element. Now you can perform as many actions you wanted like this. Every time you no need to write find element, find element. I hope you understood this one. I hope you understood this right. So this example explaining the both send keys and also this clear. Well, now let me teach you another operation. How to read the data present in a text box. How to capture data present in a text box. How to capture the data present in a text box. Nothing but how to read the data present in a text box element. See. Here, first to explain this concept, I'm making Selenium to open the RNHRM application. Now, I want to write the code to admin login. For admin login, 1 minute. There is an ID property. I'm copying the ID property. Driver dot find element by its ID. I'm giving the ID. Send keys, some data. Say admin. Then here I want to make Selenium to enter the password. Okay, I'm using the name property password. So driver dot find element by its name password. The value I'm giving this. Then driver dot find element by the ID. This. So now we are making Selenium to login. We are making Selenium to login. Let me run till this point. Then now I want to make Selenium to click this PIM element, PIM personal information management element, then add employee element. These two links I want to click one by one. PIM, then add employee. Driver dot find element by its link test because it's a link, right? PAM, then click it. Then what's the next one? Add employee by the link text, the add employee dot click. Okay. So after clicking this add employee, here you please observe employee ID auto generated. If I want to enter first name, middle name, last name, as simple, find the first name elements and keys. Find the last name elements and keys. Now, this scenario I am taking to teach you how to capture the data displayed in a text box. I want to make Selenium to capture this data. How to capture this data? Let's see. I'm spying the properties of this element. I'm showing you the properties of this element. Yes. Yes. Right. There is a ID property available, employee ID, and well, you please observe the last one. There is a value property. Did you observe? There is a value property. Did you observe? So generally, while I'm teaching, all you people are attending with the laptops and all, same navigation you can do on your system so that you will understand more clearly. When I'm teaching, whatever the application I'm opening, whatever I'm doing, maybe not writing the code, remaining things, so that you will understand the concept very clearly. Opening the browser, navigating to this. You also can inspect the same in your application. So what is the value property you are seeing? Yes, answer me. Right, correct. Finally, we are seeing some value property. So whatever the data displayed in a text box, it is a value property. It's a value property. Now, I want to capture the value property of the element by the Selenium. Right, how? Web element, first we have to make Selenium to identify the element. There is a method get attribute. So what is the meaning of attribute? What is the meaning of attribute? Property, right? Attribute meaning property, right? So get attribute. One element will have a number of properties, ID, name, XYZ. Which property you want to capture, the property name we have to give. Finally, it will return the string because it is returning a property value which is available in the form of a string. You do observe any property you take, ID property or class property or maximum length or type, all are available in the form of a string, correct? Are all available in the form of a string. So get attribute will return a string. So now after clicking add employee, find the element by its ID. here. Yes. See, if you want to perform any action on the element, first we have to make selenium to identify the element. There is a ID property, employee ID. So now I'm making selenium to find the element based on the ID property, employee ID. After finding the element, I'm using get attribute. It needs a property name in the form of a string, return type also a string. Property input argument type is string, return type also a string. So which property you wanted? Value property of the element. Done. Now it is returning the value property which is a string. So this I'm keeping in a variable. This I'm keeping in a variable x, for example. Now let me print the text value. So this is how we can read the data displayed in a text box element. You know the data displayed in a text box is a value property. By catching the value property of the text box, we can able to fetch the data displayed in a text box. That's the concept. Yes. Your script should click PAM. So if my guess is correct, we receive the exception, no such element exception. Yes, correct. No such element exception. Why we are getting this no such element exception? Which element it was not able to identify? Add employee. Why it was happened? Why it was happened? Because you observe, it takes some amount of time to process a request. After clicking PAM or during login or whatever, application takes some amount of time to process a request. So there is no default synchronization mechanism in the Selenium. There is no default synchronization mechanism in the Selenium. So what I do, maybe driver level I can configure. Driver dot manage timeout. Timeouts. I'm asking Selenium implicitly wait for 20. What is this 20? Time unit we have to configure. 20 seconds to identify any element before throwing no such element exception. Hereafter, Selenium will wait up to 20 seconds. If it was not able to find the element, immediately Selenium will not throw the exception. Hereafter, it will wait up to 20 seconds to find the element. Still not able to identify the element, then only it throw the exception. So by default, Selenium will wait for 0 seconds to identify the element. With the help of implicitly wait, we are making Selenium to wait for 20 seconds to identify the element before throwing no such element exception. Now, let me run the same code. I close all the browsers. Done. Let us run this code. Yes, done. One moment. Again, we got the exception. Element is not interactable. Where? Which one? Add employee. Okay. Then what I do? It's okay. Driver level implicitly wait is okay. But still here we are getting element is not interactable. So here I'll use thread.sleep because after clicking PAM, the element is not interactable. Sleep for 2 seconds. Let me run the code. For here, in any programming, Python or Java or C# or Ruby or Selenium, first we'll write the code. We have to execute the code to understand our code is getting executed successfully or not. Then only we come to know, once we have executed, then only we come to know what kind of errors we are getting. Then we have to address the problem. In programming terminology, it is called debugging. See the output now. Yes, we are getting 0515. We are getting the value, right? So here, this is how we can capture the data displayed in a text box element. So this example will explain you how to capture the data displayed in a text box. Sir, you can practice all this stuff on the RNHRM or any other application. That's your option. That's your option, right? Well, friends, for today I stop here. I hope today you understood only majorly 3 topics I have demonstrated today. How to enter the data in a text box, how to clear the data present in a text box, and how to read the value displayed in a text box element. And I have given some basic details about the CSS selector and the HTML properties of the element. And tomorrow I'll teach you, before I teach this topic, first I will teach tomorrow using absolute location and partial location, that is location based identification, because that definitely needed here. When I type Selenium here, I'm getting list of suggestions. Technically called, these are called Ajax components. How to handle this Ajax component or suggestions we'll discuss tomorrow. It is also text box related operations. Right. We continue tomorrow. We'll upload the code into the drive. Okay. Thank you, friends.